Hey everybody, welcome to Home with the Halsteads and welcome to my kitchen. I have a confession to make. I was getting ready to make this wonderful dessert that I'm going to show you how to make today, and I had started filming and talking to you, and I raised my hand, which I talk with my hands a lot, and you know what I did? I dumped 3 cups of milk all over my kitchen. If that wasn't a blooper, I don't know what is. So I'm having to start all over. So here we go. Today we're going to be making a chocolate delight, or as we called it back in the day when I was growing up, a chocolate icebox pie. So you can call it chocolate delight or you can call it chocolate icebox pie. I'm going to tell you what we're going to make in it. It's a wonderful dessert to have at Christmas or at Easter or any other time of the year as far as that goes. It is so delicious, and the beauty of it is that it can be made ahead of time. So we're going to start out with 1.5 cups of flour. I'm using all-purpose flour. To that I'm going to add 1.5 sticks of butter. 1.5 sticks of butter and 1 cup of chopped pecans. This is going to make a crust. We're going to put it in the oven, we're going to bake it, and then we'll add to it. So once we get our crust done, then we're going to mix up a mixture of that wonderful cream cheese. We're going to use an 8-ounce package of cream cheese. To that we're going to add 1 cup of white granulated sugar and 1 cup, I almost forgot, 1 cup of Cool Whip. Now in the total recipe, I'm going to be using this entire 8-ounce package or 8-ounce carton of Cool Whip, but in the filling part that's going to go on the crust, I'm just going to use 1 cup, and then I'll use the remainder of it later. And then, let me grab this. And then once we get that put together, then I'm going to mix up a pudding. And I moved this when I spilled my milk and I forgot to bring it back over. But I'm going to be using 2 boxes of instant pudding mix. Now this is vanilla. This is just a small box. I think it's 3.4 ounces. And this is just a small box of chocolate instant pudding. And we're going to mix this instant pudding with 3 cups of milk, and I'm not touching that because I don't want it to go all over this kitchen. I've already mopped one time this morning. And then once we get that done, then we're going to cover it with the remainder of our Cool Whip, and I'm going to top it with pecans. So let's get busy and see if we can make this chocolate delight or chocolate icebox pie. Today I'm using a 9 by 13 baking dish, and I have melted our butter as our oven was preheating to 350 degrees. I put the 1.5 sticks of butter in the baking dish and let it melt. I like to do that because it heats my baking dish, and then it doesn't take as long to bake it. So to the butter I'm adding 1.5 cups of flour. And then to that, I'm adding 1 cup of pecans, and I'm just going to mix this around. I like to use a fork to mix mine. Now, a lot of recipes will just call for 1 cup of flour and 1 stick of butter, but I find that when I'm making and using a 9 by 13 or 13 by 9 baking dish, that mine does better if I add a little bit more flour and a little bit more butter. So what I've done, I'm using 1.5 cups of flour and 1 cup or 1.5 sticks of butter. 1.5 cups of flour and 1.5 sticks of butter. So now I'm just going to take this little spatula and I'm going to spread it out evenly. And you can tell that we do need those amounts because this makes a large dessert. Most people would serve 12. You might even serve 15 people with this chocolate delight because it does make a lot. So sometimes when we get messed up like I did today, and we get frustrated and we say, well, I'm just not doing that, or it's not worth it. Well, you know, that's not the right attitude. So I just try to laugh it off, chalk it up, move on. It could have been a lot worse. So I hate I lost the milk. I didn't mind the cleanup, as I hated to waste the product, but it happens to all of us, and I think it's all in the attitude of how we handle it. So now I have the crust ready to go back in the oven, and I'm going to bake it on 350 for about 10 to 12 minutes. And then I'm going to take it out, put it on a cooling rack, let it cool, and then we'll make our cream cheese mixture, and that'll be step 2. See you in a minute. Okay, our crust is out of the oven. It's almost cool, so we're going to go ahead and mix up our next step in the process, or mix up our cream cheese, which is the next step in the process. So we're starting out with 8 ounces of cream cheese, and this is at room temperature. To the cream cheese, I'm adding 1 cup of white granulated sugar. And I'm going to take my mixer and just mix this around. Now this is a very familiar process for you and as well as me, because I use a lot of cream cheese, and I use a lot of cream cheese and sugar mixture. And then I'll add something else to it depending on what the recipe calls for. So we're just mixing this around, blending it together, trying to get the sugar granules all mixed into the cream cheese. These little hand mixers are so handy. I love my freestanding mixer, and I use it a lot too, but I do love the handheld mixers. They're so convenient, so easy to work with. Okay, there we have that. So now I'm going to add 1 cup of Cool Whip. Remember I said that we're using a total of 8 ounces of Cool Whip, but to the cream cheese mixture, I'm just going to add 1 cup of the 8 ounces of Cool Whip, and I'm going to reserve the remainder of it. So I'm just going to stir this around with the cream cheese. Mixing it up really well. I could eat this by itself, it's so delicious. Probably should have used a larger spatula, but I had this one in my hand, so I'm just using it. Okay, that's all that we need to do. Now we're ready to spread it onto our pie crust. Now we're going to spread our cream cheese mixture on top of the crust that we have baked here. It looks so delicious. When you get this all spread out, evenly distributed, you could put it in the refrigerator if you have something else that you need to do. You can make this in steps. You don't have to make it all at one time. I kind of like to make mine and get it done and mark it off of my to-do list, but you certainly don't have to. If you're busy doing something else, you can just make it in steps. You can make your crust, you can go buy groceries, you can come back, you can make your cream cheese mixture, you can put it in the refrigerator, you can come back later, mix up your pudding, then you can top it. So you don't have to just wait until everything is cooled before you move on to the next step. And like I said, this can be made the day ahead of time before you serve it. See, that crust it kind of pulls up if you aren't careful, and I just showed you how to do that. So very gently. This is Sharon's favorite dessert. Sharon is our youngest daughter, and she would give up birthday cake any day of the year to have this chocolate delight. Need a little bit more over in this area here, just spreading it, covering it evenly. And this completes step 2 of our chocolate icebox pie. Okay, we're ready to mix up our pudding, and I'm going to start with 3 cups of cold milk. This is just whole milk. Some people call it sweet milk, but it's just whole milk. And then I'm going to add 1 small package of vanilla instant pudding mix. We talked about that earlier. And then I'm going to add the chocolate instant pudding mix. I'm going to mix this until the pudding begins to set, and then we'll be ready to put it on top of our cream cheese mixture. So I'm not going to hold you while I mix this. I know that you've all done this and you know how to do it. So once it gets mixed up and it's set, I'll come back and we'll finish up our chocolate icebox pie. Okay, our pudding is set. It's ready to put on top of our cream cheese mixture. And I wanted to tell you that I love the vanilla and the chocolate mixed together. It gives kind of a milk chocolate taste. So I'm just going to pour this on here, and then I'll spread it out. This is a favorite of mine. It's so good. And it lasts, if you have leftovers, it will last several days in the refrigerator and it'll still taste nice and fresh. So we're just spreading this out over the cream cheese mixture. This is a great recipe to take off to a family get-together, a Wednesday night prayer meeting, dinner, or just to serve your family, to have at Easter, to have at Christmas, whenever you want it. And like I said, it can be made all at one time, or you can just make it in parts, as I do sometimes. Okay, we're ready to add our Cool Whip. This is the remainder of the Cool Whip. Remember, we used 1 cup in the cream cheese mixture. So I'm just going to kind of spread this out. Sometimes you might want to go ahead and refrigerate the chocolate. Before you put the Cool Whip, so that it spreads more evenly. So let's see if we can spread this out. Just very gently, I'm just going to spread it. Sometimes I do dip down and get chocolate in it, but that's okay too. And you could use more Cool Whip if you wanted to. You could use a 12-ounce carton of Cool Whip, and then you wouldn't have to spread it quite as thin. That's probably what I should have done today, because it looks like my Cool Whip is going to be thin. We'll spread it and see how it goes. I've got some more, but I don't think I have it thawed. So we'll just go with what we've got. Just spreading it out evenly. If I want more, I might just add some more. This kind of reminds me of stretching a meal. Well, I'm trying to stretch this Cool Whip so that it covers all of this pie. We'll see how this goes. I bet you're holding your breath, wondering if I'm going to make it. I'm holding mine. This has been a struggle today. As easy as this pie is to make, it's just one of those days. Things just don't go quite as you had planned. So the best thing that we can do is to laugh about it, keep going. I'm getting a little chocolate on the top. So if I was taking this off, I would add more Cool Whip. But there we have it. Now, I'm going to cover it up. I'm going to put a few chopped pecans on top. It's going to be delicious, I promise you. So, so delicious. Look at that. Yum. I can guarantee you nobody will refuse a piece. And there it is, our chocolate icebox pie, or our chocolate delight. Okay, sweet friends, we have it done. We have our chocolate icebox pie, chocolate delight, whatever you want to call it. It's going to be delicious. It was a challenge for me today, as I'm sure you could probably tell, but you know the old saying, a bad beginning makes a good ending. So I'm sure this pie is going to be delicious and there's not going to be a crumb left. I hope you have a blessed day. You're just so sweet to watch my videos and to share my videos, to make comments. So let me hear from you, and I hope you have a great day. I'll see you again really soon.